Have you ever wondered what would happen if one impulsive moment completely altered your destiny? For Lily Carter, that moment came on a rainy Tuesday night when she kissed a stranger in a dimly lit diner. Little did she know, that stranger was about to buy the very building she was struggling to pay rent for. Lily wiped down the counter for the 5th time that hour, her fingers raw from the harsh cleaning solution. The midnight shift at Rosie's diner was killing her slowly, but the tips kept the lights on in her tiny apartment. At 26, this wasn't where she'd planned to be, serving coffee to truckers and the occasional drunk college kid while her art degree collected dust. The bell above the door jingled, and she looked up to see a man in a soaked suit stumble in from the downpour. His expensive watch caught the fluorescent light as he ran a hand through his dripping dark hair. "Coffee, black," he said, not looking up from his phone. "And whatever pie isn't stale." Lily bit her tongue. Another rich jerk who thought service workers were beneath him. She'd seen plenty in her 5 years at Rosie's. "Coming right up, Your Majesty," she muttered, just loud enough for him to hear. His head snapped up, piercing blue eyes meeting hers with surprise, then, unexpectedly, amusement. "I deserved that," he said, pocketing his phone. "Bad day. I'm sorry." The simple apology caught her off guard. Most customers would have demanded to speak to her manager. "Apple or cherry?" she asked, softening slightly. "Surprise me." As she poured his coffee, she noticed his hands, strong but with ink stains on the fingers. Not the manicured hand she expected. "You an artist?" she asked, nodding toward the stains. He looked down as if seeing them for the first time. "Architect. Though my assistant would argue I'm more of a professional doodler who makes impossible demands." Lily smiled despite herself. "I'm an artist too. Or was supposed to be. What happened?" "Life." She shrugged, sliding a slice of cherry pie toward him. "Student loans, a sick mom, reality." He took a bite of pie and closed his eyes. "This is incredible." "I made it," she admitted. "The owner lets me experiment sometimes." "You're wasted here," he said simply. Their conversation flowed easily after that. He asked about her art, and she found herself telling this stranger about the gallery dreams she'd abandoned. He listened intently, asking questions that showed he actually cared about the answers. When his phone rang, his face darkened. "I have to take this." Lily nodded, moving away to give him privacy, but she couldn't help overhearing. "No, I won't sign off on demolishing the block. These are people's homes, their livelihoods." He paused. "I don't care about the profit margins, Marcus. Find another solution." He hung up, looking troubled. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Just business." He sighed. "Sometimes I wonder if I've become what I always hated." The vulnerability in his voice touched something in Lily. Before she could think better of it, she leaned across the counter and kissed him. It was brief, impulsive, electric, and mortifying. She pulled back, horror washing over her. "I am so sorry. I don't know what. I've never." But he was smiling, a genuine smile that transformed his tired face. "Don't apologize. That was the most honest thing that's happened to me in years." The bell jingled again as new customers entered. Lily stepped back, flustered. "I should go," he said, leaving a $100 bill on the counter. "Keep the change." "Wait, I don't even know your name." "It's Jack," he said, pausing at the door. "And yours?" "Lily." "Well, Lily the artist waitress. Thank you for the pie and the perspective." Then he was gone, disappearing into the rain as suddenly as he'd appeared. What Lily didn't know was that Jack Reynolds wasn't just any architect. He was Jack Reynolds of Reynolds Enterprises, the billionaire developer whose company had just purchased the entire block, including Rosie's diner. And that kiss had just changed everything. 2 weeks later, Lily arrived at work to find a closed until further notice sign on the door. Her stomach dropped. Rosie, the 70-year-old owner, stood inside, tears streaming down her wrinkled face. "They're tearing it down, honey," she said when Lily rushed in. "Some big-shot developer bought the whole block. We've got 30 days to clear out." Lily felt sick. Without this job, she couldn't make rent. Without rent, she'd have to move back to her hometown. Back to the father who'd always told her art was a waste of time. "There has to be something we can do," Lily insisted. "Unless you've got a few million lying around or know someone who does, we're finished." Rosie patted her hand. "I'm too old to fight anymore." That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Jack, about their conversation, about his phone call. "These are people's homes, their livelihoods," he'd said. Had he known then? Had their entire interaction been some sick game? The next morning, she made a decision. The Reynolds Enterprises headquarters was downtown, a gleaming skyscraper that seemed to touch the clouds. She'd never make it past security, but she had to try. Dressed in her one good outfit, Lily marched into the lobby, heart pounding. "I need to see Jack Reynolds," she told the receptionist. The woman didn't even look up. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but..." "Then I suggest you call his office and schedule one. In about 8 months." Lily felt desperation rising. "Please, it's about the development on Maple Street. People are losing their homes, their businesses. Security will escort you out if you don't leave voluntarily," the receptionist warned. As Lily turned to go, defeated, a familiar voice called out. "Lily." She froze. There he was, Jack, stepping out of an elevator, surrounded by suits. He looked different here, powerful, untouchable. "You know this woman, Mr. Reynolds?" the receptionist asked, suddenly attentive. Jack's eyes never left Lily's. "Yes, she's my 3 o'clock." In his office, a space larger than her entire apartment, Lily couldn't contain her anger. "You knew the whole time. You sat there, letting me pour my heart out, knowing your company was about to destroy everything." Jack's face remained calm. "I didn't know that night. I found out the next morning when the acquisition papers crossed my desk." "And you signed them anyway?" "It's complicated." "It's really not," Lily shot back. "People like you step on people like me without even noticing. That's how the world works." Something flashed in his eyes, hurt, maybe even shame. "Is that what you think happened between us? That I was slumming it for fun? What else could it be? Billionaires don't fall for waitresses except in bad movies." "I didn't know you were a waitress that night," he said quietly. "I just knew you were someone who saw me. Not my money, not my name. Just me." The sincerity in his voice made her falter. "It doesn't matter now. Rosie's losing everything, and I'll be homeless by next month." Jack was silent for a long moment. What if there was another way? 3 months later, Rosie's Diner reopened, not as a greasy spoon, but as Lily's Gallery Cafe, a combination art space and restaurant. The entire block had been renovated rather than demolished, with affordable housing above the storefronts and local businesses given priority leasing. The grand opening drew crowds, including the press, eager to understand why billionaire Jack Reynolds had abandoned his company's most profitable development plan in years. "Mr. Reynolds, is it true you changed the entire project because of a waitress?" a reporter called out. Jack, standing beside Lily, smiled. "I changed it because sometimes we need to be reminded of what matters. This community matters. Art matters. People matter more than profit." Lily squeezed his hand, still not quite believing how her life had transformed. Her paintings hung on the walls, customers discussed them over coffee, and for the first time, she felt her dreams within reach. But not everyone was celebrating. Marcus Blackwood, Jack's business partner and the company's major shareholder, watched from across the street, fury evident in his cold eyes. The board meeting tomorrow would be brutal. Jack had cost them millions with his humanitarian project, and Marcus was determined to make him pay. What Jack hadn't told Lily was that he'd leveraged his personal fortune to protect her dream. If tomorrow went badly, he could lose everything. But looking at her now, radiant with joy, he knew he'd make the same choice again in a heartbeat. That impulsive kiss in a rainy diner had awakened something in him, something he'd lost in the relentless pursuit of success. She'd reminded him of the idealistic architect he'd once been, before spreadsheets and shareholders had buried his passion. "You saved us," Lily whispered, leaning into him as the cameras flashed. "No," he said, kissing her forehead. "You saved me." Their story spread across social media, the waitress and the billionaire who found each other at life's crossroads. Some called it a publicity stunt, others a modern fairy tale. But for Lily and Jack, it was simply the beginning. They faced challenges, his world never fully accepting her, her friends suspicious of his motives, Marcus working behind the scenes to undermine Jack's position. But with each obstacle, their bond strengthened. 6 months later, as they stood on the rooftop garden he'd designed above the cafe, Jack knelt with a simple question and a ring that had belonged to his grandmother. Lily's answer was another kiss, just as impulsive, just as life-changing as the first. Their journey taught them that true wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in courage, the courage to see beyond appearances, to stand up for what's right, and to love without reservation. Sometimes the greatest risks yield the greatest rewards. Sometimes a single moment of connection can rewrite two life stories. And sometimes, just sometimes, fairy tales do come true, not because of magic, but because two people brave enough to be vulnerable find each other in an ordinary diner on a rainy night. If you were moved by Lily and Jack's story, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales that remind us of love's transformative power. We'd love to know, what country are you watching from? Share in the comments below.